Go.
So what we're going to talk about is direct measurement. So if you have a scale or a balance similar to this one, measures in grams, you simply can place your object on the scale and it will measure to the 1/10 of a gram. In this case, the quarter weighs 0.2 grams. That was what you would record in your data. You can also measure indirectly, and you'll be using the balance to measure solids. And we recommend making yourself a weighing dish or a weighing boat out of wax paper. You simply fold it in force. You can place it on the scale, and then the scale also has the feature of a tare where you can zero it, so you can measure your amount of solid directly. So it's at 0 once I press the tare button, and then you can add your solid to whatever amount you want. So in this case, I'm going to add salt, sodium chloride, to a weight of, in this case, 0.2 grams. So then you can take your weighed solid and you can take it to your bench and you can use it as appropriate. Okay. Now, if you don't have this type of balance and you are not able to tare, then you have to use an indirect method of measurement where you would have to take the total weight and subtract the weight that you add. So in this case, you would put your weighing boat or weighing dish on the balance and you would include it. This weighs 0.1 grams. And then you would add your salt. You get the total weight. And then to get the weight of salt, you add the total weight minus the weight of the boat to give you the weight of the mass of the salt that you added. So that would be if you were unable to zero or tare your balance once you put the weighing boat on. Okay, so that's basically how you want to measure mass, is either direct with a balance that you can zero or tare, or indirect where you measure both and then subtract from the difference to get your amount of salt that you added. Next, we'll move on to measuring volume with a graduated cylinder. So this will be a quick review of using a graduated cylinder for measuring volume. In this case, we have a 100 milliliter graduated cylinder that's calibrated in mils, and when you read it, you would read it to the nearest 0.5 mils between the graduation marks on the cylinder. So hopefully you can see that. And the one recommendation I make when using graduated cylinders is that when you measure a volume, you hold the cylinder even with your eyes so you can measure the volume and see directly rather than looking down at an angle. So in this case, I would read this at eye level, 35, 36, 37.5 milliliters. So it's easier than putting it on the bench and trying to bend over and read it rather than putting it at eye level. So that would be one direct method. The second direct method would be, I think your lab says to measure the volume of a shot glass. So we're going to empty our graduated cylinder and we're going to measure directly how much volume is in the shot glass in terms of water. I'm going to hold over the sink so I don't spill it. And then you can measure this again, holding at eye level. So this particular shot glass measures about 6.8 mils. Okay. And then an indirect method of measuring volume for irregular shaped objects. I'm going to fill this up to about 50 mils. And I'll fill it up to 60. And your lab says to measure the volume of some pennies. So this is at 60. So what you can do, start with 60 mils and then you add your object to the volume of water directly. I think I have 20 pennies here. And I see that my new volume is about 68.5 5. So you would take the difference of 68.5 minus 60 gives you the volume of the pennies at 5.